So today we got this one right behind me. We got a D6N. This is an MC square system, single GPS, and a blade sensor. So what they're saying this machine is doing, basically it showed a track hoe, an excavator on the display yesterday, and then it went to the dozer. Very weird how it flip-flops like that. And then he loses initialization and it doesn't know where it's at. His blade was separate from his machine, sitting over somewhere else on the project. Just totally weird. But when weird things happen like that, it is time to check out all the firmware, all the software, and maybe possibly think about doing a wipe on all that and reloading everything. That's what we're going to do today, just to be sure. Just wipe the box and reload everything brand new. So right now it is initialized and it looks right, but to be safe, on the safe side, we're just going to wipe everything out and reload it. Let's see what he's actually running on this as far as 3DMC. And that's new, but it could be corrupt. Let's see what his GPS is real quick. See, that's older. They also have an excavator that we have to look at that needs to be updated as well. But to start, you have to make sure you know what equipment they're running. We got an MCR3 and we have a GX55 box. So, to load the right firmware and software, we have to know it's an MCR3 GX55. Could be a GX60, could be an MCI4, and that's how all the software and firmware is controlled, by what type of system it is. So, alright, well, I'll load up my thumb drive and get this thing rolling. And there's our excavator, a 450D. That's a nice size machine right there. Most likely needs updates, lots of updates. I've never seen that machine, and I've been around for a while, so I've never touched that machine, which says, you know, it's in my territory. I've never touched it, so it says one thing: it probably needs lots of updates. Alright, so I like to make sure I have a am I going to be able to do this? There we go. One-handed. I like to make sure I have a clean flash drive. 2 flash drives. And I'll show you why. Alright, so there we go. I got a clean flash drive. Alright, let's get out of there. Alright, so what we have an MCR3. So we need to go in there, and this is an MC2 standard. We need to pull the firmware. We'll throw that in our flash drive. It's the Dynatop 4.8 D5. And then pretty much everything else is going to be GX55 related. So go to the GX55 folder, and this is going to be the 12.2.572 3DMC program. Throw that in your flash drive. We'll need MCX config, we'll need true, and we'll need the OS version 1.25, and that should be it. Once we have those loaded, we can go in and use our other flash drive and save everything, which we can do now. So let's actually, we need to be in here for one specific part. This is if you need to do a wipe. It's so important that you keep your machine, your system updated. So here we want to go and save the OAF file, modify. We're going to export it to the hard disk. Where's my pen? Make things easier on me. We're going to go to the Topcon folder, and we're gonna select a 3DMC folder, and we're gonna export that file there. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually import this file to my USB as a safe measure. Whoops. Could not be found. What? Import to USB. Hold on. Guess we need to export it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Christmas vacation. Get out of there. Come up here, save the machine file. And save their current project. 12/15/21. Okay, now we can get out of here. Go into device, hard disk, copy, Topcon folder, go back, open up your flash, paste that in there. That's everything you need. Now we have all the important stuff saved on the flash drive. We can get out of there. As you see, this one only has true on it, doesn't have MCX config, but we'll put that on there with the new true. Just update everything and wipe and change everything. Get that 3DMC out of there, get the firmware, everything out of there, and just check, make sure nothing's corrupt. One thing I'm interested in looking at, go to their Topcon folder, 3DMC, and just see what's in there. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 files, which isn't bad. Any one of these could be corrupt. Usually it's the one that's running that's going to show the problems if it's corrupt. So, alright, so we got that. We got the OS on there. Now we need to put MCX config on there. And true. And don't forget, just load this, whoops, GX55119 is for eyesight. If it's loaded, they can have eyesight. So we'll just throw that on there too. Alright, so we got everything we need on this flash drive to do an OS wipe. We're done with the computer. Alright, now for the OS wipe. So basically, shut it down. Power off. And when you start, use the greater sign and start button. Hold them down together till that pops up. That's going to put you in soft mode, safe mode. I wait until it boots to that screen, then I load this. With a GX60, you can't have your flash drive in it. So, alright, and then it's going to ask you to calibrate. We'll calibrate. And done. Alright, so go to My Device, View, Options, uncheck the first two, and OK. Now go to your Windows, and we're going to do a Nand Wipe. So go to a Nand Wipe file folder here, and where is it? Nand Tool, right there. Format Nand Flash, yes. That's going to wipe the box. gonna reload into the soft safe mode. And recalibrate. Go back into my device, view, options, uncheck the first two. Okay, go into your windows. Now we're going to go down to upgrade. There's your upgrade.
Move my truck out of the way, Troy.
Oh, that's pretty loud. Alright, so now this is the Wince Safe image. We're going to browse. And this is going to be the OS right here. And it'll say Safe, Main, or eBoot. And those are the three programs that you'll load. So the first one is Safe. Hit OK. Make sure that safe image is checked. And we're going to load that one. We got some rain coming. Clouds are moving pretty good out there. Oh, it's a busy area. Busy, busy. Still working on it. Alright, once Wince Safe is completed, it'll give you a little prompt saying it's been upgraded. So yes, it's going to reboot and you're going to go back into your calibration. And calibrate. Device, view, options, uncheck the first two, go to your windows.
I can't reach you there, you're going to have to come closer.
Upgrade. And this is the one we're going to do eBoot. So go to your eBoot, hit OK, make sure eBoot is checked. Main you do last. Upgrade, and yes, and let that run through. And that one's really fast, and yes. And the next one is the tricky one, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see if it works for us this time, but I have a little trick to get by it. So again, it's going into safe mode, calibrate. Alright, so the next one for the main, you go to Start, Settings, Control Panel, and there's an upgrade here. So click on that upgrade, browse. If nothing shows up, exit out of there. Go back to Device. Go to your View, Options, uncheck the first two. Hit OK. Open up your windows, go down to this upgrade. Open this one up, hit browse, select your OS, you can select the main, and then you can just exit out of this. We're not doing anything in this one. So go back to Start, Settings, Control Panel, Upgrade, Browse, and there it is. For some reason, you have to go in there and touch it and come back out for it to recognize. Sometimes it doesn't do this all the time, but most of the time, select your main, hit OK, upgrade, and it's going to upgrade. So that's the little trick to get that to populate from the Start Control Panel settings. These guys are talking about they just found another copperhead over there.
It looks to be about the same size as the one you found the other day.
Nice copperheads. All right, so our OS is loaded. When it powers up,
no, I don't see him either.
do your calibration.
Yeah, I'm still on my 2 foot lift.
It's too loud. Do your calibration. And then at this point, basically we're just going to load everything else. So you can go to My Device, you can open up your flash drive, and we can start loading all this stuff in now. So we'll load the MCX config, then we'll load True, and then we'll load 3DMC. Okay, MCX config is pretty quick. Now we'll load the True. And just next on that one, next on that one, and install. Alright, so it's done installing. You don't need to launch Topcon. It automatically checks that box. Just uncheck it, hit finish. So True is in there. Let's go ahead and we'll just load our GX55 119. This is for eyesight, if they ever want eyesight on it. All it's going to do is blink. Which it did. Now we'll load our 3DMC. And there's going to be 2 OK prompts, and then it'll start loading. There's 1, and well, usually there's 2, and it's loading. Alright, just about there. Done with this flash drive. Alright, so everything that we needed to load as far as the OS wipe is in there. We got MCX config, Topcon. 3DMC is not going to populate in your Windows here because you need to shut down and power back up, then it'll populate. But before we do that, we have one more final thing to do. Well, actually not final. Second from the final. We had saved the Topcon folder on there. So go into My Device, go into your USB, that Topcon folder right there, copy it, go back to your hard disk, and we're just going to take and paste it right into the hard disk.
That one right here in front of my dozer blade. 10-4.
Got a big old copperhead down there. Alright, so Topcon folder's in there. That's everything that this machine has. It's machine file, it's OAF, the models, all that stuff. So now that's in there, we can power down. And you see our little blue and black ball down there. That's for our eyesight. If they have eyesight, which there's a modem down there somewhere. I can see the antenna. They probably don't have it hooked up. Somebody found a 1960s bottle. Alright, so once that loads back up, you want to check a couple different things. Make sure everything is there, and make sure it automatically goes into 3DMC. And let's see if it does that.
Hey Jake, you might want to get that Soltec out here. It looks like he's sitting in this truck. We're about done with this 2-foot lift. Or I'm about to the pile of mud anyway.
And there's 3DMC, there's our 3 programs we loaded. We still have to load GPS firmware, and it automatically goes into 3DMC, which is good. We'll make sure it connects. We connected to radio, connected to our sensors, so that's nice. We can, we can go in and just view real quick. And there it is, 5.72. Okay, alright, so now we need to get out. The last and final thing we need to do, we'll go into our Topcon receiver utility. We'll go into application mode, firmware loading. We'll connect. This is MCR3, so it's going to be on a network. And they don't have anything in here. They have one antenna, so we only need to add the main. And we need to add the IP address, TCP, port, and password. And once you have all the information in there, hit OK. Make sure it's highlighted, hit OK. You're going to connect network to that device, that main, and hit your firmware loading. This is one file. Next. Well, you know what? It would probably make more sense if I had this in there. And it's showing the 4.7 D5 P6, which we got to upgrade to the 4.8. And we'll check this flash drive. And there it is, Dynatop 4.8 D5. Select it, hit OK. What are you doing? Come on. Okay, there we go. I forgot, those are subfolders, and you got to open up the folder to actually get to it. So there it is. It's loading. It's firmware for the GPS. It's going to update it, give it a whole lot more satellite visual, and help the system along. And we're done here, so we can get out. Done, done, done. Go in your 3DMC. Make sure it still connects. Got our sensor. And it might take a minute because we have updated the firmware for GPS, so it's got to recognize that. And we got it. And now initializing sensor, which we might need to move the blade for that one. But let's go in here and just double check the GPS, make sure it is the 4.8 D5, and we are good. We can let this machine run and do its thing. If they report any more issues where it's freezing up, or, you know, like he said, his blade was way over here, his machine was over here, and then one time it actually ended up being an excavator instead of a dozer. So that is serious issues that need to be corrected. So a wipe and reload of all new stuff is definitely recommended. So we'll let them run it, and we'll see how it goes. Should have fixed the problem. And that's it. This one can go back to work. This is a CAT D6N MC square system. Alright, this one's good to go. Now let's go check out this excavator. Missing, no, it's got the GX60. That's interesting. It's like TS1 sensors. And this one is an MCI3. With a loose auxiliary cable. No, that might be the reason why it's not initializing. That's pretty loose. Alright, so biggest problem with this machine is that. The red bar of death right there. Let's go in and take a look. Wow. 4.1 May 31st, 2013. Yeah, that definitely needs to be updated. Let's look at the 3DMC. Firmware versions unknown. This has got the 11.1 and we're on 12.2. So, yeah, wow. Before I do anything, and this is something that you need to make note of, take that serial number right there, call your Topcon dealer and ask them, is this one, am I able to update the software and firmware without it crashing? And They'll let you know, because the older the box, you don't wanna load things on it. Just call them up, give them that serial number, and ask them. All right, same thing with that last one. So basically, MCI 3. This is going to have the BX10 4.8 firmware. Load that into a fresh, brand new, clean USB, and it's a GX60. So open up the GX60. This is going to be the 12.2537. .3DMC. No. It's getting stuck. There we go. Weird. That was weird. Okay, so 3DMC 12.2537 and the BX10 4.8, which is a two-part file. We'll get these on the new flash drive. You shouldn't have to save anything off the display for just uploading new firmware and 3DMC. Alright, so I called in that serial number. They said, yep, that's good. It's a good serial number. It's not too old. You can go ahead and update. So, we'll just cancel, exit out of there. We need to calibrate the screen for them. Let's do that first. Start, settings, control panel, and with a GX60 sometimes close you. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's on the main screen. Oh boy. You see the arrow? Now I'm not gonna be able to get out of there.
You done with that dozer, buddy?
Yep, all done. Go ahead. Let us know if it does any weird things. It's all completely updated, so.
Boy, thank you, buddy.
Alrighty. So I just shut down, and I'll have to get back in that way. You just can't get that little arrow anywhere. This box needed calibration years ago. Let's bring it back up and try it that way. GX60s do not like flash drives when they're being started. It's going to want to run through 3DMC and all that fun stuff, but we don't need to connect or anything, so we can exit right out of it. On-screen keyboard. Yeah, I saw calibration. It's on there. Alright. Sometimes they're on the screen for the GX60s, which is better. Sometimes they're in settings. So we can actually get out of here now. Alright, let's calibrate this thing. There we go. There's one. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you should be able to touch everywhere you touch, that little pointer should go. Alright, so this is really simple. Go to My Computer and find your flash drive. Well, it's not popping up because I don't have it in there. There it is. Open it up, and let's run 3DMC first. Double click on it. next. It's a little bit different than the other system. Next. Accept. Next. And it's gonna run. Alright, almost there. Once it's done, we're not gonna load the firmware yet. Exit out of there. Hit finish. Power off. And we'll have to power back up so that that new 3DMC loads. Before we load any firmware, we want to make sure that new 3DMC is in there. And make sure it actually loads. Make sure it automatically goes into 3DMC. It's a gamble on these GX60s, these older boxes. This one's not that old. It's not as old as some of the ones I've seen. But 2013 tells you, that one firmware tells you how old that box is. There we go. So automatically loading into 3DMC, and that's good. So we got radio already. It's working on the GPS. Let's go in and make sure that 3DMC is there. There it is, 12.2573. Now let's work on the GPS problem. We'll exit, and we have True right there, so we'll open up True. We can now insert our flash drive that has the firmware on it. We're going to go to Device, Application Mode, Firmware Loading, Device, Connect. And here, it's serial port. They got 2 ports on this. We'll do COM 1 and connect. Alright, there we go. And this is going to be 2 files. And next, there's the firmware. 4.1, 2013. Whoo boy, that is it's old. So here's where we go into our flash drive and grab those files. My computer. Removable disk. Open up the BX10. There's the first one. The RAM image. There's the second one. The main. Alright, so you got RAM image, main, next, and it's capturing device, and it's going to update the flash image. When we get out, we'll do the same thing to the auxiliary. This is the main side right now, and we'll do the same thing to auxiliary. Should have the same files in there, so you shouldn't have to go back into flash drive and pull them out. Okay, nearly there. There we go. Main is done. Now, select secondary receiver, serial port D, and connect. And this will be the auxiliary. This is 2 files. Soft break, yes. Usually takes longer to connect to the auxiliary. That one wasn't too bad. And capturing device. They were already on there, so good. And there goes the dozer. Going back to work. This one's almost done. Okay. We can exit out. Exit out. Open up 3DMC. And see if it doesn't do any better with GPS. Might take a few minutes. It's got updates it's got to look at. Alright, so it finally went through. I'm just waiting for initialization now. There's one more thing we're going to do to help this out. We're going to do a factory reset on the main and the auxiliary. You want to let it run, after you load new firmware, you want to let it run through first. See what it's going to do and then get out. Go in and take a look at it. Yeah, it's still thinking heavily. So what did you just put in me? You see how this is freezing? Freezing up. Might have been too much for this box. Alright, we'll do a power down. We'll bring it back up. We'll do a factory reset. You might have to power down and restart like 3 or 4 different times before it starts to catch itself finally. The more you restart, the better it'll get. It has to, that first time it finds that new firmware, it's trying to figure out, it's a new channel basically, it's trying to figure out how to work with it. Second time's a little faster. Yeah, much faster. Much faster. Alright, I want to go in and do factory reset. Go to true. Device. Receiver managing. And connect. This is going to be COM1 serial port. Uncheck, because we're going to do the main first. Go to tools, factory reset, yes. Now hit secondary, receiver, connect. That's going to open up the auxiliary. We'll do a factory reset on that one as well. Factory reset, and you can exit out of there. Power down. And power it back up. Let it run right straight through 3DMC, and it's going to take a little bit of time again, just like the first time after the firmware loading. It's going to take a little bit of time for the GPS to run through, just because now it's got factory reset on both main and auxiliary. And then after it runs through that first time, shut it down, restart, shut it down, restart, like 2 or 3 times. And it should start to pick up and go a lot faster. There's 3DMC. It's actually moving pretty good after a factory reset. Yeah, it's not bad. Just want to go in and just double check. So they got use GLONASS, use QZSS. Give it a few minutes. If it doesn't go green, shut it down, start it back up. We're starting to get some readings now. We got 8 out of 13 satellites. We got our distance to base. I'll give it one more minute. If it doesn't go green, I'll power down, bring it back up. Could have a weak antenna. Power down. And we'll just repeat this process one more time. And there we have it. We have a green board. We're connected. We're initialized. And it is now reading correctly. It's been a while since they've had that green. You know, with that old of firmware, I'm going to power down and bring it up one more time, just to be sure. And again, remember, the more you power down and bring it up, the better it's going to be, because it has to find those new channels, you know? Well, it's not new channels, but you know what I mean, right? It's got new information that it basically is opening up different avenues of approach, if you will. I can't explain electronics to you, not over this device. It would take too long. We'll bring it up one more time, and hopefully it goes a lot faster. Okay, we're green, and 9 out of 14. We should be over 10. Should be over 10, but it's not for some reason. So we have to talk to these, talk to this company about moving their base. This machine does work closer to base, so right now we're 1131, but still, maybe that base needs to be updated as well. But we're green, so that's it. Then this one can go back to work. Yep. That's the one we just got done working on. We did a whole complete OS wipe. I'm gonna go check on it. I want to know how many satellites it's picking up, because right now we only have 9 out of 14 on that excavator. That's just not enough. So I have to determine if I need to move their base or not. So that one too was only getting 9 out of 14 satellites, which means they either need to get a repeater for their base, or update their base, or move it.